Hello, my name is Dio German, and this is my video for the Diagnosing a Fictional Character assignment. Today I will be doing Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. I will psychologically analyze Katniss Everdeen. I'm mainly focused on her trauma and just her overall mental health. Um, and just a little bit of layout. I'll be discussing PTSD, depression, and a few reasons why she has those. Background. Katniss grew up in poverty. Um, District 12 was the nation's uh, coal and mining operations, basically. It is the last district in the overall districts from Capital 1 to 12. Um, Being it's probably the poorest. We don't really see the other capitals much, but in the books it's given that District 12 is one of the poorest districts, so very, very, very poor. Um, Katniss's father died in a mining accident, which is kind of what a little offset. But the first of her traumas that she has to live through, um, which forces her to become the primary provider for her family, given now it's only her younger sister, her mother, and her. Um, and obviously, biggest trauma in this entire series, being forced into the Hunger Games. But the biggest thing is that in the first movie, The Hunger Games, she isn't forced to be a part of the Hunger Games. She volunteers. So it's a little bit even more traumatic because she had to live with the idea that if she hadn't volunteered, her sister would have been in the games. And obviously, she witnessed repetitive death and obviously traumas from the first game, from the second game, to the entire revolution. Diagnosis 1, PTSD. I believe Katniss shows clear symptoms of PTSD. From the flashbacks, the nightmares, the emotional numbness, to the hypervigilance. Um, from catching fire when she explodes the stadium to Mockingjay 1, there's a clear, from when she wakes up from her coma-like state to before she's sent out as a messenger for the revolution, she experiences these major flashbacks and just traumas. And you can see in the photo, this is a clip or picture from those scenes. She actively has flashbacks and actively just has an innate fear of being around people, being especially after the whole explosion, the whole games, and obviously trauma from the first game. I mean, when she had to participate in the 75th annual Hunger Games from right after the 74th, who wouldn't be traumatized? Who wouldn't be immediately just struck down with fear that, given District 12 only has one victor from the Hunger Games, she knew she would be the only person, or the only person from that district that had to participate. Um, um, and obviously, like I mentioned, constant nightmares after the games, after the 75th, and going into the revolution. Um, Constant alertness. I mean, from the 74th to the 75th, the 75th, she was always, always, always scared in the arena, and which clearly carried over. Like I said, and like I mentioned in the trauma, after the trauma-like stage, she's constantly in this fear. She cannot sleep properly. She has slight hallucinations, you could say, um, and just difficulty adjusting to normal life. I mean, in District 13, they do live a normal life, but she can't live it because she's constantly in fear. Um, Diagnosis 2, major depressive disorder. While PTSD does cause some depression symptoms, I do believe Katniss does have major depressive disorder. Um, Given her persistent sadness, she shows two or more symptoms of MDD. Um, she has constant. She does have a loss of interest in life when she didn't want to do any of the things for the revolution, but also um, just didn't want to continue. Especially, you could tell right before she does the whole speech of "If you burn, you burn with us." she had no emotion, she had no want to do it, but then she showed up at the scene and then chose to do it. Um, Emotional withdrawal. She chooses not to emotionally engage with people anymore. She does have emotions. It's just she doesn't express them as much anymore, especially after the 75th annual Hunger Games, because she's in constant fear that if she touches to someone, they will die. And flat affect. At the end scene, you can tell in her face she just doesn't care or just can't show that she cares much. Um, when she shoots coin, she doesn't have any face. Um, Snow laughs hysterically, but she has a flat affect. She doesn't have any emotion. And when she speaks, she does that too. She doesn't show any emotions. Her face is completely still. And this is probably from obviously her other traumas, but also the fact that she can never deal with her guilt or grief. She had to constantly move on from what she did or from what she experienced. Like in the 74th Hunger Games, when Rue died, she immediately had to go back into the games and be a competitor. A few treatment options for her: psychotherapy, cognitive therapy for depression, where you change thoughts of your person, the world, and the future. Trauma focused therapy, focusing on the violence and the death she had to experience. Group therapy, maybe having more people around could, or maybe other victors who had experienced similar things could help her with the trauma. SSRIs, antidepressants, serotonin inhibitors may help make her feel a little bit more excited or joyful, um, given how uh, how much I bet fear or constant threats or just honestly overall just sadness she might be experiencing over everything that happened in her life. They might boost up a little bit more joy, you could say. And anti-anxiety medications that help GABA in her brain do their job and slow her down or slow the rapid anxiety that she has or fear by um, suppressing the central nervous system, which could help, like I mentioned, with the whole fear of constantly being attacked from PTSD. Um, but that's it. Those are my diagnoses and uh, treatment options I could offer Katniss. Thank you.